Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another EpicTube live stream. This is a special one. This is a special one, everybody. We have brought back once again our live talk show, but it's been rebranded. It's new, whole new ball game, guys, and I'm super excited. The main content that we're gonna be focusing on will be Pokemon. Let me show you guys. That is the Epic logo that we got. But hope you guys are having a great evening. Without further ado, I'm going to get right into it because we're in a time frame tonight. But let's go ahead and get over and introduce our guest. Actually, before I introduce the guest, Rob, if you guys don't know, his name is Rob Burns, and his channel is Rob Does Pokemon. Rob is relatively new to the content creating world. Specifically, it's the YouTube space. I mean, in just 9 months' time, Rob's channel, which is Rob Does Pokemon, it has quickly grown to over 5K subscribers. Every video he gets pretty much is getting in the thousands of views. He's doing extremely well. That's 20 times faster than when it took Will Smith to walk onto the stage and slap the crap out of Chris Rock. And it's 100 times faster than it takes Rattle Pokemon to get through his opening monologue. So if you don't want to watch today's stream, you don't have to. You can save yourself some time. Over on Rob's channel, he actually has a welcoming video that pretty much details who he is and everything he does in under 5 minutes. But if you want to hear him talk and, just chill out with us in this live stream tonight, stick around. It's going to be fun, everybody. With that said in mind, let's look at the numbers. Welcome to Rob Burns. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the nice introduction. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Can everybody hear Rob fine? Hey, what is going on, Alice? He's in the house. We got Ashlyn 4000 back at it.
Yo.
We're doing good. Phantasma Artificial. Welcome, walking home. He lives in New York City. But hopefully everybody can hear you fine. I'm not listening on any of my stuff. So again, it is the inaugural opening of the Epic TCG Show, everybody. So this is our first episode with Rob. Brandon Pelletier, welcome. Hopefully everybody hears you fine and I don't have any issues because, like I said, I'm known as the dumpster fire for a reason. So I hear good, says Phantasma. All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying?
Can we hear ya? Can you hear me now? All right, Rob. So how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm doing great. Kids just got to bed and got a little drink here. So yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll.
We got the apple juice rolling in tonight, huh? What vintage is it, by the way?
We got it going. Yes, this is a Moscow Mule tonight.
Okay.
What's that?
Nice. So we're here to basically, as we start the show, to get to know you a bit more, and I've got a bunch of little, silly questions and things like that to answer. I'm pretty sure you would do very well at. Of course, I had to get in the motif, the Rob motif, for anybody who hasn't really noticed. So we've got the blazer on. We got a special tie. This is my favorite tie. It's the Munch character. I decided to go little, relaxed instead of the normal business attire tie that Rob dons in his videos. But Rob, give us a little bit of information, man. First of all, how did you even get into the Pokemon space? You only started on YouTube 9 months ago. How'd you get into Pokemon? And we'll go on from there. Uh-oh. We've got a frozen Rob on screen. Hopefully, let's see. Let's see if it'll kick in here. Let's see if I take it out and I put it back. Will that help? I think we lost Rob. That happened pretty quick. We were having a little bit of internet issues earlier, so hopefully we can get it back here. Just has to rejoin once he gets his internet. So nothing new here on the channel. We all experienced that. But hey, what a face he left on the channel, though. That was beautiful. I mean, you can't get better than that. While we wait for Rob to join back in, again, this is something that may happen every now and then. Not everybody has the best ability to, go live stream an internet. I know he lives up in the far great north, America. But it happens every now and then, guys. With that said, oh no, I'm having a breaking moment. My teleprompter has gone out. That's supposed to be a joke, everybody. Anyways, as we wait for Rob to rejoin, Rob has only started doing YouTube about 9 months ago, and I couldn't be more envious and jealous, because in that 9 months, Rob has surpassed my growth, which has taken me several years to acquire, and he has just taken off, and it's absolutely amazing. Now, of course, we'll get into why I think that has happened, why he thinks that's happened. Hang on one second, everybody, as he's messaging me. I think he's trying to fix his internet or do something here. We'll get it going, though. Phantasma, I'm so happy that you got to enjoy a beautiful New York City Comic-Con. Always a great thing. Hang on one second. Again, we're just waiting for Rob to be able to reconnect. Again, this will be probably a common issue with certain guests. As we all know, with Gary, Gary King Pokemon, it happened several times as well. And it's happened with other people. Again, internet is a tough thing, man. It's a tough thing. Not everybody is getting in their house, top end internet, and it's very expensive to have a lot, very strong internet. But anyways, we'll get into it here. Just give a little bit of breakdown about Rob's channel. He's currently sitting at around 5.2 thousand subscribers. Again, he only started 9 months ago. It says site can't be reached. One sec. Oh, that was the earlier. Again, 5.2. Here he is. He's back. He is back. He is back. He is back. We have Rob. We don't. Rob, I hope you're not stuck in that one. No, Rob. No. No, we'll hide that on stream. Hold on. It froze again. Hang on. We don't want to leave Rob with that thumbnail left on the screen. Escaped alien EpicTube doing Rob dirty. Oh my gosh. It's hey, what's up, my friend? Unfortunately, I think this is more on Rob's end. I've got great connection. We just had the company come out. We've complained multiple times, and I've just been so sick and tired of not having good internet service. And we finally, I think we've got it. Possibly we got it fixed. I think the issue might be with Streamlabs. Give me a sec. Okay. Yeah, he might have an issue. Streamlabs is a very high-end, if you guys don't know, I use Streamlabs OBS. I don't use regular OBS. I use Streamlabs OBS. It's a very high-end streaming service. It does take a little bit more to get that data. It takes a little bit more data to run. It's a little bit harder on the computer. That's why I think for so long I was such a dumpster fire on the channel, mainly because it was a difficult, takes up a lot. Cornell Thompson, hello, what's up, my friend? Welcome. Yeah, internet looking crisp, brother. Yeah, it's should be really good. We'll give Rob a little bit more, and we'll keep trying. Again, this is the inaugural show. I kind of expected there to be some hiccups. Normally there is. When I did the talk show a while back, we used to have some hiccups as well in the beginning until we got to iron it out. So we'll just give it a little bit of time. Hopefully we'll get on. We only got Rob till about 10 o'clock tonight. I think it'll be a fairly once he gets in, we'll be able to have a fairly quick live. Let's see if we can get him back. That's going to be the key. But the great thing about supposedly the great thing about Streamlabs is that all they have to do is click a link on their end and just join. And all I got to do is give permission for camera. So, again, but it does take up some data on my end. It may be taking up data on his end, which is why he's having some issues. But to get back into Rob's channel, everybody, in 9 months, he's grown to 5.22K subscribers. And, most people who grow that fast, typically it's because of shorts. A lot of people who grow really, really quickly with their shorts content, they can get up very quickly. But the problem is your long form content, it will suffer. And that's one of the downfalls of doing shorts. So you have to kind of decide how do you want to go with your YouTube channel? Yeah, you can get lots and lots of subscribers, but ultimately it can also affect your long form content because people aren't used to it. They don't want to watch your long form. They're watching for your short form. But Rob has done it using long form content. And, he's also got an Instagram and, there's a lot of stuff growing. All right, let's see if we can get Rob back again. There he is. We got a good Rob in front of us, it looks like.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with Streamlabs, and my internet doesn't want to work with it.
Hopefully it Streamlabs is it definitely a, like I was just saying, it's a higher end streaming service, so it does take up a bit more data, but that's what pretty much like all the big, all those big people you see
Mhm.
usually doing stuff. They're usually using Streamlabs because it allows you to do so much more. It has a lot more functionality. But let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, I got Rob here. Hopefully you don't go back and see the one thumbnail it froze on because it was, well, not the best thumbnail. The first thumbnail you froze on was much better. That was the second thumbnail it froze on.
Oh, is it picking my nose?
Picking your nose. We got you
I'm
stuck
just
there,
scratching
but
it. I got an itchy nose. An itchy nose.
I have been there. Believe me. There's people have sent me some screenshots of myself in some very precarious situations, and I didn't realize. So, let's get into it. Rob, what got you into Pokemon?
I was playing the games, man. Playing Pokemon Red, Game Boy Color, in my best friend's car. His brother was actually playing it, and he didn't know how to get through one bit. I think it was one of the cycling roads or whatever. And I said I would get him out of it. I had no idea what I was doing, but as soon as I held that Game Boy in my hand, I was like, man, this thing is incredible. So yeah, I got the game shortly after. I pestered my parents, got it, and yeah, some of my best memories were laying on my bed on my stomach, just chipping away, trying to catch Pokemon and walking around. Yeah, that's how I got hooked, man.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the majority of people out there. Oh, we're getting a little freezing again. Oh, please. I hope we don't lose you. There you go. You're back. Um, I think a lot of people from Pokemon, it's funny. Pokemon's so big. There's just so many different ways that people got involved. For me, I'm a lot older than most people realize, but at the time we had a daughter back in '99, and I think she was what 5 years old at the time, and so I should say it's a stepdaughter technically, but we had her at 5 years old there, and I remember I worked at JFK Airport at the time. I worked for an airline, and I actually worked the ANA, which is All Nippon Airways from Japan. I worked their Boeing 747. One day it came in with all these characters on it. I was like, I love paint job. I used to actually go plane sighting, and I did a lot of photography and video. So I was really into all that stuff. And when I saw the Pokemon plane roll in, I was just like, wow, that's super cool. And then we started watching the cartoons at home. I started buying the VHS tapes. Next thing you know, I'm a card collector at heart. So as soon as I saw there were cards, I was in like that. But that's pretty much a common story though. It's either the video games or the cards. Now, what got you into the cards?
So me and my buddy started collecting them. I don't remember exactly, but I do have a very vivid memory of pulling a base set Blastoise outside of WH Smith, which is a magazine. It was a magazine and bookstore in the UK. Now it sells a lot of other stuff. But yeah, I remember having that experience and just being like, wow. I remember playing the game with one of my other buddies. His name was Shorty, and yeah, we used to play the game. We had no idea what we were doing, but he had a Charizard card. I didn't have a Charizard card because I think his mum had bought him a box or something, a whole booster box, and he'd opened the whole thing and got Charizard or a couple of Charizards. And yeah, just playing the game, man, collecting the cards and getting the starter decks and stuff. Like that was the great memories, like just really fun.
Now, yeah, I think a lot of people were there. It was always that Charizard. Like people just couldn't pull it, but that one person would just take everybody
Yeah,
and get everyone on a crazy trade. And next thing you know, they got 50 cards. You got one. Um,
yeah.
but how do you manage doing what you do today, being a family man? Because I know you're just like me. You're a family man, and again, if people don't know your full story, they're gonna find out. They can either find out now if you wish to tell it. Otherwise, you can go to Rob's channel. Again, he's got a video up that gives his welcoming video, and it gives a bit information about him. But go ahead, Rob. Let's go on. Let's tell us how you got to Canada and all
Yeah, I
that
mean,
fun
look,
stuff.
yeah, I'm almost 40. I got two kids. I got a 5-year-old and a a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old. And yeah, my wife was in a car accident. She's getting better now, but yeah, she got some challenges. Let's put it that way. So traveling's not that easy, but I brought the Pokemon space to me by making content in my basement, and I just wanted to be part of it. I like making content. I like being creative. I used to be a financial advisor, an investment advisor. I've got a lot of experience winning and losing money in the stock market, and I thought, hey, it'd be fun to make a channel and just kind of have it as a hobby, and that's kind of what it's been. I like to just enjoy making content. Sometimes I make silly content. Sometimes I make serious content, and some people seem to like it, some people don't, and I'm just having fun making it.
I would definitely say I think people are really enjoying your content. As I was saying while you were trying to reconnect, I couldn't be more jealous and envious because in your 9 months on YouTube, you've surpassed me, and your channel's growing greatly. And your all your videos, I was doing a lot of research, before we did the show, and all your videos are just they're booming and doing extremely well. You're well above what the considered YouTube average is for certain size channels. You're doing exceptionally well, and I think it has to do with the fact that people enjoy your style. You do have a style, and it's a unique style that's different from other people, and I think that's that's one of the things that I really enjoyed. I'm usually about like what people catch me. It's putting in the editing and all that other stuff.
Mm.
That's usually what gets me. And you also do extremely good editing on your stuff, and I think that's really impressive. But we have a question here from Escaped Alien. Says, "What color was your Game Boy?"
My Game Boy was, I believe it was, I think the color was teal. It was like a kind of lightish blue, is what, like, but not like a kind of, yeah, in the middle. I think that was what it was. Does that make sense? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, there was a teal one. There was a teal color.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's how I remember it being.
okay, now to get back into it, so now we got know a little bit about you and why you got into the hobby and everything. Obviously, your channel is based around not just having some fun, but what is the main basis of your channel?
So that's a great question. I mostly make Pokemon investment content. Mostly I do. I try and make news content as well because I find that there's often breaking news stories that impress me, or I like when there's new set leaks, or today there was that thing with the blooming waters that came out, which I had a bit of fun with on the reprint side of things. But yeah, mostly investment content, mostly market content. But I want to do more than that. I always have these ideas that I'm going to film these epic videos that I never get around to doing, because as you know, it's a lot of work to film, edit, script, and star in a video all by yourself. It's a lot of stuff. So yeah, sometimes time constraints just get to me, and sometimes I'm just like, screw it, whatever. I'll just put the camera on and talk for a little bit. So yeah, you asked me how I manage doing a YouTube channel, being a family man and working. I don't know, not very well, not very well if you ask my wife. So I've had to really kind of tone it down, because I was doing 3 videos a week, staying up too late, and took a bit of a break. And now I just want to enjoy it and kind of have fun. So
Yeah, that sounds about familiar. Sounds very familiar to me. I'm usually up till 3, 4 in the morning. Because
yeah,
honestly, that's the only time I get a chance to really usually film or even try to settle down and edit, where I can think until I get too tired
yeah,
and I can't think anymore. And I totally feel you on that. We got another question, but before I get to his question, Brandon's question. So basically, you're more or less along the lines of an investment channel, and I
yeah.
would definitely would say that I think right now in this hobby, we've the hobby is elevated from what it used to be, which was just pack openings. you know it's kind of gone through a phase over the past 4 or 5 years, from the panty to now, where I think it's basically been taken over content creating, whether you're on YouTube or
Mhm.
Twitch or Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case may be. It seems now the focus has really gone towards the investment channels, or sellers who are now bringing their business to the front lines of people,
Yeah,
and they get to see everything, because everyone loves to see how the chicken's made, the turkey's head's cut off for Thanksgiving.
mm,
They all want to see that. So I think that's what's making them being very successful. But you and I have talked before about being as an investment channel. I've come out, and I'm supportive of investment channels. I believe that it's a needed thing in the hobby. I do a little bit. I'm not a big person in that realm, but I'm also very critical of a lot of investment channels about things they say and stuff. So with your channel though, again, people obviously are gravitating to you. The growth is happening pretty quickly. How do you feel about that? That it's growing, and you said you're pulling back a bit.
Yeah, I pull back a lot. No, I mean, look, I think there's a lot of great guys in the space right now. I think there's a lot of people who are really talented, and I think that's great to see. And you got certain tools that you could work with, and I think I could probably do better if I made a certain type of content, but I want to give people good advice, and I want to have fun with topics too, and kind of be a little bit different. And I think I get wrapped up in being creative with it too, which is really fun for me, right? Like making a certain video, doing a certain script. I don't know. Maybe if I made less jokes, it wouldn't be as good. I'm really happy with the channel though, man. Like it's really nice the things you say, and it's really nice you invite me on. I mean, I'm just here in my basement. Like it's just me, man. I'm just like here, and this is what I do with my time, right? It's my messy basement.
Yeah.
I've got my Pokemon stuff, so it's just a hobby for me. It really is. One day, could it be more? Hey, maybe, I don't know, but like it's a creative outlet for me. And I really like Pokemon cards. I could go and make a channel about a lot of other stuff. I could probably spend my time doing a faceless channel about Taylor Swift and make a lot more money. But I really like it. It's fun.
And I think that's the other thing that I really respected about you was I think when we talked a couple of times, I could feel that from you that it's more about that than anything. I mean, obviously, if the
Yeah.
growth comes, you're gonna, it'd be great, and if you were able to provide for your family, that'd be even better, right? But I think
Mhm.
I have the same feelings, which is why people always ask me like, why aren't I growing more? It's because this is a hobby. Even though I am taking it serious, though I do take it more serious for
Mhm.
me because I'm at home quite a bit. Uh, but it's still a hobby at the end of the day. I want to have fun. I don't want to be under this like intense pressure to have to,
Yeah.
pack people's stuff up. I have a hard enough time with the giveaways as it is that I do here on the channel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the reasons I don't do rip and ships is like, or like sell cards. I don't know. I don't have the patience for that, for doing it. Hats off to the guys that do. Like they're very successful. They make a lot of money, but yeah, I can't do that.
So I got a question from Brandon Pelletier. He's asking, does Rob allocate a percentage of his yearly investments towards sealed Pokemon?
Yeah, I don't have a number that I follow per se, but I don't know what I'm spending exactly, but I would say I don't know, probably in the like take home pay. I would imagine somewhere in the region of 10 to 15% a month. I'm putting into it. It's probably a little higher these days. I've been buying a bit more, but a lot of my more traditional investments I still contribute to, but they're kind of set it and forget it, and they're compounding nicely. So I'm able to do a lot more of the kind of high risk Pokemon stuff.
Is it just sealed that you go in, or are you doing singles? Are you doing
Yeah, yeah.
slabs?
It's I don't invest in slabs. No. I like seal product. Seal product's guaranteed. I think slabs are a little more risky to me. I'm not a seller. Like I don't turn stuff over very often. I do sell product on the side to friends now and again. And I've got ways that I could offload stuff if I really needed to. But a lot of what I'm buying is long holds, man. I'm not getting rid of this for years and years, maybe even decades. So I'm just stacking stuff up. That's kind of the plan, and then you gradually watch it appreciate. And when stuff gets high, like a booster box, let's say a booster box reaches $1,000 if it gets that high, and you bought it in for 100 or maybe $1,200 it gets to, you want to sell it off at about 1,000, somewhere around there. You sell it just below market, get rid of it. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good news story, I think, if you're treating this as an investment. But the lines are a little blurred. I have my personal collection, which I have slabs and I have singles. I do some master sets, and yeah, I have some seal product, which is for my personal collection, but a lot of it is for investing and the idea that I'll turn it over one day.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, if you can, I guess if you are gonna resell some stuff over in the short term, it
Mm.
definitely seems like 2 times your money would be very good. I mean, right now, I mean, we were hitting like 3 to 5 times money. I mean, if you
Oh
just
yeah,
look at
dude.
what Evolving Skies, I mean, pretty much anything from the Sword and Shield era right now, you're looking at 3 to 5 times some of those sets. Which is absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're like what, 8x on like Evolving Skies, or like I think it'll be 10x by the time the year's done. Like I mean that's an anomaly though. Like you'll see more of them go. I'm confident of that. Like a lot of people are moving into the space, and you talked about investor channels growing, and There's a big divide actually that I see in the Pokemon community. There's the people who don't like the investors, they're not a fan of that, and they don't like the values that are attributed to the cards. And then there's other people who are completely fascinated by it. I'm one of those people. I'm really fascinated by how these pieces of cardboard that like were so special to me when I was a kid, but like grown-ups were just like, yeah, that's worthless. That stuff's no good. And now they have these crazy values. They drive this whole economy. Like, I think it's incredible. I really do. So, and I celebrate that. I'm interested in that. That intrigues me. People trying to recapture their childhood. So, I'm one of those people.
That's always been a big thing that I've said is you have to come to terms and understand how everything works together. Like I said, I think I've said it. I know I've said it in a few places, but it's an ecosystem that works together, and people don't seem to kind of grasp it or want to take that
Mhm.
in and be a part of it. Because at the end of the day, uh, hey, welcome, Ian with Ian. What's going on, my friend? Because at the end of the day, I think, once you realize what's really happening here is by the investor base really going hardcore in and buying a lot of product up to keep it sealed, whether it's short or long term, that all goes back to Pokemon's data at the end of the day, and makes them decide, should we print, more, how much should we print for the following future sets, which ultimately kind of goes back to your collector and your player base, because now your player base has a lot more choice and options out there. Now, granted, yes, of course, some cards are going to spike. That's inevitable. But overall, if you look at everything, it's going to make it much easier for you to get cards. I mean, it just gets a lot more product out there and a lot more availability. So I think that's what I always try to tell people is you got to accept that part of the hobby, because, really it funds a lot. Because again, a lot of investors go to local game stores and they'll buy a lot of stock up from there. They help keep, certain things going, because if you only had a player base, they're only looking to buy what, 40 to 60 cards for their deck. Once they get their cards, they're done. So what else happens to that product? Well, stores will go out of business, and these things did happen over time. So in the long run, I really think there's a huge benefactor to having the investor base out there. They really are helping to keep a lot of product moving at the same time. Yeah, I know sometimes it's a tightrope, but it does work. It's an ecosystem. It has to work together.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. I think there's a few bad apples out there, I think, on kind of both sides. But the thing I've learned is like, there's a lot of times guys that are investing in Pokemon cards really like Pokemon, like they really do. Like, and the collectors and the investor lines, they really are starting to blur quite a bit.
So right now, before I get to Brandon's question, so right now 151. Obviously, that's like the elephant in the room right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great set. Yeah, I think it's going to be incredible long term. I still hope that we see some price pullbacks on the English side of things. I really do. I hope that they bring more product out. But hey, Pokemon's playing a great game right now with supply and demand, and I think it's one of the best sets they've done in a very long time. I mean, it's brought so many people back into the hobby, right? So many people have come back, and that's a great thing. So hopefully they stay in the hobby, they continue to be interested, and yeah, it's cool if you invested in that set early because you're very happy right now for sure.
Yeah, especially with the single market, it's absolutely insane, because just, in March alone, the Charizard SIR was $100, and today I think it's like $500. And then you've got the Venusaur has spiked crazily. Of course, we're talking PSA graded cards here, so PSA 10. Harley's mic got lower than before. Rob mic is good. Oh, mine's a little bit low. I can turn it up. Yeah, I turned it down a little bit. I have the mic a little closer to me than I normally do, so I turned it down a bit. I don't want to sound like I'm screaming into the mic. Um, but yeah, it's pretty insane. What do you prefer more, Japanese or the English?
I like the Japanese better. I like the reverse hollow master balls. I think they're very, very good. I wish
Yeah,
English had them. I really do. I wish English had those master ball hollows.
yeah. I don't know why they didn't. I just don't know why they don't follow some of those trends sometimes from Japanese over to the English, and that's one of the ones I think that would really go over well. It's possible they could do it in the future, but
Mhm.
um
Yeah.
Brandon has another question. He says sealed collecting's only become mainstream in the last few years, which kind of disagree with.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like, hey, you're entitled to your opinion too. I would probably be inclined to agree with Brandon. A lot of the guys that I talk to, yeah, I mean, there's the mainstream. I think probably 2021, maybe 2020 is when it really started. Like COVID pushed a lot of it up. Like I certainly didn't see a lot of people stacked up with boxes behind their heads before that. And that's why the guys that had the product have done so well. Like TCA Gaming and all those guys. Like I think he's probably right,
Oh, very
in my
true.
opinion.
I mean, yeah. I guess the way I'm looking at is I'm looking at Rusty, the Charizard Authority. I'm looking at those guys who, for however they did it, they seem to have looked into a crystal ball. Maybe they did the old 8 ball and shook it up, and it told them, hey man, just buy Pokemon, because a bunch of those guys definitely went hardcore into buying sealed product, and they're the ones benefiting from today's world with a lot of the vintage.
Oh, 100%. Like Rusty. So Rusty, I bought a ton of cards from Rusty back in 2013. And I think it's in one of my videos, I'm hassling the guy on eBay, like, when are my cards arriving? I don't understand US to Canadian customs. And he sent me a message. I was trying to dig it up, but as I recall, it was something along the lines of he had to keep relisting his booster boxes for base set because they just weren't selling. And he was offering me some for a really good deal. And I was like, no, I don't want the box. I want the cards. Like this is 2013, right? And I was like, well, what can you do?
Wow. Well, to piggyback on Brandon's comment, he wants to know, what do you feel is going to be the next trend from sealed
The next
collecting?
trend.
Is there a next trend from sealed collecting, or do you think that's going to continue on? That's probably the future.
The next trend in terms of Pokemon, I think people are going. The big money or the bigger money is going to be in BGS black labels. I think when you look at the grading profitability going from, like, if you cross over a
Yeah.
PSA 10 to a BGS black label, it's basically 10x your profit, right?
Yep.
It's much harder to get that black label. So I think the big guys are going to look for the rarity on the BGS black labels. That's what people are going to want to collect, because they're going to want to be able to say, I have, like, the Logan Paul thing with the Charizard. He's got the one BGS black label, right? The first edition. People are going to want to say, hey, I've got the 1 out of 1. Like, you guys got all your PSA 10s, there's tens of thousands of those, but I have the 1 out of 1. So, like, there's only one BGS black label. So that's what I would think. I mean, in terms of the mainstream, I can't see sealed really going away. I'm interested to see what happens with booster boxes, because it seems to be that booster box allocations or print runs, whatever you want to call it, keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because the MO of these distributors, Millennium and Pokemon's distributors, is they want to get stuff to big box stores, because big box stores can just take stuff and they can take pallet after pallet after pallet. And your card stores, some of them have capacity to do that, but the majority of them don't. Like, maybe my card store gets 1 case or 2 cases of booster boxes in. That's what they get. That's a big allotment for them of the new set. So that's the way the world is going. They want big box stores to have it. So I'm curious to see how booster boxes hold up over the next decade or so, and if Pokemon just kind of move away from that, not completely, but like really minimize the allotments on booster boxes. So sealed investing could become a bit tricky, right? If it's just elite trainer boxes that you're going for, or these booster bundles, and they're available in Walmart and Target and Best Buy. So BGS black labels, and it'd be interesting to see what happens to booster boxes.
Yeah, I think the king of investing, I would say, is probably Rudy from Alpha Investments.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That guy's got it going on. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And he basically says, he always says, he goes, you got to hold. People just can't hold long term, and I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest key is
Yeah.
it can you hold? I mean, that's what I suffer through, because when we have some down hard times, I go to my collection to see, okay, what can I
Hmm.
part with to help, do some certain things or whatever. And it's hard. It is hard for I think the average person to try and put sealed
Yeah.
stuff away and think long term. I think that's the whole idea with sealed stuff, is you should be thinking long term rather than short. Unless, again, you're just looking to do quick flips and be happy with that. Whereas over time, like you
Yeah.
said, just depends, I guess, in your outlook. But since you said BGS 10, what about CGC's Pristine 10? Do you think that's in the same
I,
category?
I make fun of CGCs all the time, but the truth is, the market seems to like those too. They are fetching a premium for sure. So watch this space. I mean, grading's a whole can of worms, man. Like, you might see these AI grading companies like Tag. I really like Tag. I've seen a few guys. I've not personally graded with them, but I've seen a few guys talking about Tag and showing how they give you justifications, they give you reasons, they give you analysis for exactly why the card is getting the grade it gets, not just like, hey, here's your PSA 8. Sorry, guys. Like, so, or your PSA 5. I saw a guy who had a pack fresh Lugier that looked really nice, PSA 5. So, yeah, I like that. So, yeah, we'll see kind of where that goes as well. But yeah, CGC, kind of make fun of those guys a little bit. I compare them to PSA 8s, but that's really not fair. It's just a joke I have in my head.
Yeah, I have a very different opinion of grading companies altogether. I'm not very I really, in my opinion, I think grading companies, as much as they want to say they don't, I just think they have too much of a hand in someone's card, someone's valuable, you know.
Yeah,
And
I completely agree. Was CGC the company that Shinyver cut the cards up and sent them in as miscuts? Is that CGC?
I think it was, yeah, where
Yeah,
they tried to make it like this was off the
yeah,
printer.
yeah. They're never going to get away from that. Like, in my mind, that's toast. That's toast.
Well, the thing with CGC though is that there's such a reputable company in grading comic books and
Hmm.
books and things like that. So because they're so very reputable in that space, I think everyone just kind of assumed it was gonna, translate over to
Yeah,
the cards, but you still need people who know what's going on. I mean, at the end
yeah.
of the day,
I
my
agree.
biggest
I
worry
agree.
is I feel like there's a control of the market with a lot of the grading companies. I think PSA has I think what I just saw the other day, they're in the 9 million cert numbers now. I mean, I felt like it was just yesterday they hit 4 million, and that was a big deal.
Mm.
Now we're at 9, and that happened over the span of like 3 years. uh it's just amazing to me, but I just feel like grading card companies, their influence on the hobby is just so great, and I feel like, I have a lot of friends with some big collections. I don't want to say that upsets them, but the fact is, I feel like there's a lot of them are very close with some of these grading card companies, and I feel like there's almost a little bit of favorability at times, and
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely think there's some shenanigans that go on in terms of, let's say, how many tens are out there, how that type of a world where there's definitely influence, outside influence. They can say all they want, they don't, but it's hard for me. My biggest issue with grading though is they're taking a piece of your pie. They offering a service. Their service is, we'll look at your card, we'll tell you if it's got any issues with it, we'll give it back to you. Why do you think you have a right to go, well, your card is now going to be worth this much money, we want a 20% chunk of your
Mhm.
your lottery there? I feel like that's shouldn't be part of it. Your service was strictly to say, hey, we're just grading your card. See, that's where I think the issue lies. That's where I think you could literally get rid of all the questions and answers if they didn't take that chunk. If they just took their $20 to charge to grade your card, ended at that, then there could be no manipulation, or there still could be, but it'd be the chances it would be very slim, because they have no reason to. There's no motivation to manipulate your cards. There's no motivation
Mhm.
for them to look at and say, okay, well, let's give this one. We need to. We didn't meet our marker for the month of our revenue our revenue for the month. We need a few more tens, and they go out there, maybe say, let's do 10 more to this person. That'll hit our numbers for the month, because we know that's how in the business world, often you got to meet those markers, or the boss comes and says, hey, come here, Rob, have a seat. We expect you to hit 10 million this month, and you only did 8 million. We need to find 2 more million somewhere. Okay, yeah, we got there's about 1,000 cards we need to grade. I'll make sure 100 of them hit tens. And then that, all of a sudden there's 100 people getting the email saying, oh, look, your card wasn't a 9, it was a 10. You got upcharged. I don't know. That's just me. That's a whole different ballgame. I shouldn't even be going into that stuff. But anyways, I get into the weeds with that stuff sometimes. Uh, but Escaped Alien has a question for you. He says, does Rob think physical collectibles, like trading cards, will continue to be popular with the future generations? Physical
Yeah, I do.
collectibles.
I think in my lifetime at least, like I'm 37. I think so. I think people are going to always want to have some physical connection to the world. I can't see people just jacking into the matrix and just doing that. And I think companies are kind of hurting themselves a little bit. Like if we look at like video games, for example, right? Like where the latest systems, if my understanding is you can't use the old games, right? Like you can't go back. And then if you buy a digital copy, hey, maybe you can use it on that system. Maybe it goes to the next one. Maybe you have to keep buying that digital copy, right? Whereas physical copy, you have it. And I think there's a real importance in being able to hold something in your hand, to smell it, to be able to touch it. It's a very human experience, and I think that's very important. Yeah, so I think it will always be valuable. It's memory. It really is memory.
I think a lot of it is memory based. A lot of things. I think obviously companies, they pay a lot of money to a lot of different professions out there to try and nail how they can sell their product best. And
Hmm.
I really do believe they've tapped into the therapy market, and where people
Hmm.
will say, yeah, I wish I had my old Voltron toys back then. And next thing you know,
Yep.
all of a sudden we see Voltron movie, we see Voltron toys, and now everyone wants to go back and find, can I pick up my old stuff on eBay, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I agree. I don't see how that would ever dip, to be honest. And especially with the new generation of people where they really want to live. I mean, look, I'm in my 40s, and I literally, I walk into Walmart and I'm going to look for, see what they have in Pokemon, so I can track and maybe make a video or something, and I'll get sidetracked when I go, look, ooh, there's Voltron. That was my favorite growing up, and I'm like, ooh, oh, I'd love to have that. They definitely tap into the emotional aspect of one's collecting habits for sure.
100%. 100%.
What are both of your takes? Excuse me. What are both of your takes on the Terra theme of Pokemon, and how will it be viewed in the future? I'll let you go, Rob.
I think history is going to be kind to the Crystal Hats. I think it is. Pokemon has a history of like things like not being super popular. I mean, even the e-reader series, right? Like, wasn't hugely popular. Now, friggin' people love it, right? So, I'm not saying Crystal Hats will be on that level, but I think people will look back on it and be like, actually, you know what? That's quite a unique thing we got here. We've got a Terra shiny Charizard, right? Paldean Fates. You've got the one from Obsidian Flames, right? It's not the shiny version, but yeah, I think people will be like, you know what? They didn't make many of those card designs actually, right? And they'll come back to it, just like they will with the Rainbow V Maxes as well, in my opinion. So yeah, I actually think people, it's always rose tinted glasses, right? Taking back to those
Yeah.
moments. And remember, the kids that are opening these cards now, right? The 12, 13-year-olds, the 8-year-olds, whatever, that's their first impression of Pokemon. And when they get up and they get older and they start trying to chase the things that were important to them as kids or that they couldn't have when they were a kid, they're going to come back to those cards and be like, yeah, that's the one I played when I was a kid. That's how it goes. So yeah, I'm not super in love with them right now. I don't connect with them as much as the OG stuff, but yeah. What about you?
Oh, I'd completely agree. Hopefully, okay, there you go. I completely agree with you. Perfect example is my son. I have my 17-year-old. They're the ones who got me back into Pokemon back in 2014, 2015. And when he looks back, his favorite is pretty much probably 98% of the rest of the hobby's disfavorite, and that's
Mhm.
Steam Siege. He looks
Really?
at Steam Siege, and he's like, that's there's nothing better than Steam Siege. And Breakpoint was actually a very, very good set. I
Mhm.
actually really enjoy Breakpoint. But Steam Siege is what he remembers at getting into Pokemon first. So whenever we have something Steam Siege, he goes bananas for it. Where we all kind of look at it and go, "Oh no," you know. Um, but I definitely agree with you on that. Big news came out. Big news dropped. Obviously, it dropped earlier this year, I should say. Oh, in terms of my thoughts, real quick. Hey, what's up, Tony? Welcome, welcome. Hey, what's up? Rob says Aztec. Uh,
Hey, Aztec.
I would say I have the same feelings as Rob with the crown jewels. I was not happy at first seeing it on my beloved Charizard, I kind of like how it looks on Pikachu. I'm not gonna lie. It looks a little bit. I think it looks a little cooler on Pikachu. I haven't seen it in person yet because I haven't had a chance to open up the Surging Spark. Well, not Surging Sparks, the other, Breaker.
Yeah.
But I, the photos I've seen, everything, I kind of like it. I think it kind of works on Pikachu a bit. I just think it depends on which Pokemon it is. Some look pretty good with it, some don't.
Mm,
I think it makes
that's fair.
Charizard look a little weak. If my personal opinion, I think it makes him a little weak. But anyway, anyways, that's my personal opinion on it. What was I going to ask you? Oh, actually, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, you know, how big of an impact do you feel the grading card companies have on the hobby? Which, again, that's a long discussion. We don't have much time left with you. We'll,
Mm.
unless you can sum it up in a few moments, basically piggybacking off of what I said earlier. What is your,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you
It's yeah, it
feel?
is a loaded question. But look, I mean, a lot of the investment side of things, a lot of the business side of things are guys that have identified they can find a raw card for a certain quality, they can flip it over into something, and they can make a profit. So they have a huge influence, huge, humongous influence. Like if you look at the back end of eBay, you can see like there's millions of cards graded, millions of cards sold. It's a huge part of the Pokemon economy. So yeah, these grading companies do have a lot of control.
Yeah.
I do put my conspiracy hat on sometimes, my conspiracy theory tinfoil hat, and
Yep.
yeah, are PSA doing population control or BGS doing population control? One way or the other. Do they have quotas they want to meet to jack up so they can upcharge people? Yeah, probably a lot of that's happening. Do they have disgruntled employees that give you a bad grade on their car because they didn't get lucky the night before or because the Green Bay Packers lost? Yeah, for sure. That happens, right? So I think it's better if machines do it, quite honestly, but I don't think everyone else agrees just yet.
Yeah, we back when I used to do a podcast with another group of people back in 2021. We had one of those companies reach out to us called AGS, and
Hmm.
we got to beta test for them back then. We got to beta test their system, and I'd gotten to know the guys through attending events and conventions, and I was really impressed with their system. I mean, they really did that from scratch on their own. They had a very intelligent person with a very well, a good degree in technology, computer technology, and they've done a really good job. Unfortunately, I don't think they've had a few setbacks. I think that kind of hurt them, but I was all for having that, the computer do it, because then you take away the human element of
Hmm.
cheating. At least as far as we're aware of, you take away that. Could they possibly tell the computer to do certain things? That's still possible, but I think the
Yeah.
chances are less because they're more busy with let's get it in and out, let the computer do its thing. From that point of view. But one other thing I was going to ask. Oh, what sites, as an investor and a collector, what sites do you like to refer to in terms of keeping track of the values, whether it's a singles card, a slab, or it's a
Mhm.
sealed product?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like anybody else, I keep an eye on TCG Player. I mean, TCG Player, love it or hate it, it's a very user-friendly interface. Everything looks really nice. It's easy to screen cap. It's easy to trace things. I don't like the fact that you can only go back a year. That's kind of frustrating. Price charting is quite helpful. The site I really like is pokedata.io. Pokedata.io is really good because it has eBay, it has TCG Player. You can filter your PSAs, and it's pretty decent for a scraping site. It seems to be really, really pretty decent. So I like that guy. He puts that together. Really, really good stuff. And I always look at eBay last solds, right? Just have a glance around, see what's happening.
Well, if you have an opportunity, I've been very fortunate to. I was asked to be a beta tester for Rare Candy's 2.0 app, and I
Okay.
think they're really doing good, and they're doing that. They're scraping from several different sites as well. So when you scan the card, you can literally scan it. It'll find the card that you have. You have different options of choosing it's ungraded or graded, whatever the case may be. But
Mhm.
it will give you at the bottom, it'll automatically give you the values right there. And it'll scrape them from eBay, TCG Player, price charting. I'm not exactly sure. I did ask them what other, they just said they have several sites it's scraping from, but it's basically the 3 to 4 main ones that most people use. and I've been really happy and impressed with it actually. And I'm not just saying that because I've been a semi ambassador for them, and we may be doing something here for the show actually in the future here, but I'm just throwing it out there. But it is actually a great tool to use. I've used several of those sites as well, but I just really like the functionality of literally being right there at the moment, being able to scan the card at the moment you open it. You can actually
Hmm.
scan the whole pack right in one shot, and you can get them
Yeah, that's pretty
all.
cool.
Yeah, and it actually will give you all the data immediately from those. Scrapes them all right away. So that's been pretty interesting. But I was curious to know if there were any other sites. Like I said, I didn't know that when you were talking about the .io one. I usually use price charting, or I use TCG Player, or I'll go to what is it 800 or oh, I forgot the name of it now. It's the one where basically it gets eBay's actual sold listings, because they don't actually show you.
Oh, you mean Alt? Do you mean the Alt app?
No, it's not an app actually. It's oh my gosh, how could I forget the name of it? Oh, 130 point. 130 point.
I don't know if I've used that one.
Yeah,
Maybe if I saw it, I'd be
130.
like, oh yeah, that one. Like I might
So
know,
when you
but
go to eBay, and a lot of times they might show you like they had to buy it now, or there was an auction. Maybe you couldn't stay. They didn't show what it actually sold for.
Mhm.
130 point taps into eBay and gets the actual data to let you see what it really sold at. So when you see on eBay, oh, it looks like it may have sold at $500. If you go to 130 point and you can put it in there, it'll say, oh look, it actually only sold for 375. And so you can see what the
Oh, I see.
real
Okay.
sale was. Yeah, you can actually see what the actual sale was on eBay, rather than what they just kind of show you on eBay site. A lot of times they can hide that stuff, or if they accept an offer, you can see what the offer they actually accepted. So
Oh, really? That's pretty
yeah,
good.
it's so we'll trade afterwards. We'll trade afterwards.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
I'd
to
like
see
to
your
see that. Yeah,
IO
yeah,
one.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
But other than that, let's see what else I got. Oh, what I was gonna say earlier was, oh, hold on, let me get to Brandon's question real quick. But I have another one I want to get to you. I know we're running out of time here. Does Rob feel waifus are something that will not hold for the American market? Are you foreseeing a fall in interest with how poorly they perform on the secondary market? So
Yeah,
waifu
I,
cards,
I yeah, waifus in Japanese, great. The guys with mental disorders over in Japan that think they are their girlfriends, and marry throw pillows, and they literally, like, the guys I talk to are like, yeah, they think they are their girlfriends, and they're getting the latest pictures of them. It's actually kind of creepy, especially because some of them are underage. And I could go on a whole tirade about the Carmine from Twilight Masquerade, but English markets say they care about waifu. They don't. They don't give a crap about waifus. Like, I'm not bullish on them. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times before. You can ask my wife, but yeah, I don't think waifus are gonna hold out. There's a couple of nice ones, I think, but Miriam, I don't see her being a big bombshell card. I don't see it. I really don't.
Yeah, so I go to Japan quite a bit, and I've literally, you go over there, and I mean there's cafes, like kind of like in America there's like a liquor store in every corner, they say.
Yeah.
I'm not, I grew up in Detroit. I lived most of my life in Canada as a hockey player, so I know Canada very well too. But
Yep.
I can definitely say in America the old saying is there's like a liquor store in every corner. In Japan, there's like a anime dreaming cafe on multiple corners, and there's probably multiples of those on different levels that these
Yep.
people go to and fantasize about things. So it's really become a strange world over there. And fortunately, I really feel bad for them. I love Japan's culture. I really like it. I like how they've remained very traditional for the most part, and a lot of things over there. But I will say they have definitely allowed their society to be overtaken by the imagination of this anime world.
Mhm.
I mean, you can date it back to the 90s when it really started with a lot of the animes out there and the mangas, and it's just like I said, they have rent a woman site where just to have one around you, because they can't do it, they don't feel comfortable being around a woman anymore. And it's very, I
Yeah.
watch a lot of YouTube. I watch uh there's T-Dog, and there's the whole group over there, and there's a bunch of them that talk about that stuff, so it is quite interesting. But real quickly, because I know time is running out. You said we're leave by 10. What do you think of the news that came out with the glory of Team Rocket? We've got an official date now coming out in Japan. I believe it's Japan. It's coming out. I'm not sure about America. I'm not sure. Was that the American date or the Japanese date? I want to say it was the
I
Japanese.
only saw April 18th.
April 18th. Yeah,
So I don't know if that was Japanese or English. I didn't read it too tight, but that's actually the day after my birthday. So I'm gonna have to treat myself to that set. I'm gonna have to get some FedEx priority shipping to open some of those.
that is.
That'll be good.
What do you think?
Oh
How do you
man,
think
no,
that's
I'm
going to affect the hobby?
affect what? Affect what?
Like in general, bringing back Team Rocket once again, because it hasn't been brought back in what? It's probably 2 decades.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's huge, and if they do it right, which they probably will, I think it's just going to be massive. I really do. I mean, we're entering a golden era. We really are. Like this whole the hype around surging sparks is one thing, but when you get into it, we got this Eevee set coming. We got the owners Pokemon. We've got this Heat Wave Arena or whatever that set's called, and then you got this Team Rocket thing, and then you don't even know what's coming after that. Like it looks like Scarlet and Violet is going to have an absolute freaking stellar back nine. Like the fanfare and the finish of this set is going to be incredible, and I think it'll wrap up next year, right? Because they'll move into whatever ZA Legends era is going to be. So
Yeah.
like it's pretty incredible, and I am really pumped for it. Like I like to hype things up as much as the next guy, right? I'll call a spade if I don't think the set's good, but yeah, I think it's going to be lights out. I really do. Like I'm dreaming of like Giovanni's Mewtwo and stuff like that. Like oh god, how cool would that
Rockets.
be to bring that back?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do it right. Like Onus Pokemon and Team Rocket, like oh man, I could just see that. So I hope that, because that's the dynamic, right? Is what I understand is Onus Pokemon are coming back as a dynamic. So
Yes.
within the set, could you have Onus Pokemon that are also dark? I don't know, like all Rockets, not dark. I don't think they're doing dark, but there's like rock. I don't know, but there's just a lot of stuff you can do with these Pokemon, and like there's so many generations that never got like Rocket style, right? So I mean, like a Rocket Ceruledge, for example. I mean, that would be terrifying. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the artworks and the Pokemon. I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah. I personally think it's going to have possibly another kick in the butt to the hobby, a
Hmm.
very big one. I think you're going to see a lot of
Yeah,
people, as soon as they see it in stores, they're like, "Oh, I remember that," because that really was the last era of really well-known cards for most people back in the early 2000s. It was
yeah,
Team Rocket, because Team Rocket Returns was already, at that point, the downward spiral in
hmm,
terms of their popularity had already begun. So,
yeah,
the return of Team Rocket just did not, you know, hit off like I think they were hoping to, because it was already on the way down. But the Team Rocket was still in the hype era. So I
oh yeah,
really think you're going to see a huge, huge, huge kick in the butt. In fact, I think we're going to possibly see 2020. I hate to say that. I don't want to give anyone, the heebie-jeebies on it, but I think we're looking at 2020 levels of scalping, flipping, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna see every store rated. I think it's gonna be. I really think it could get that level,
yeah.
with people. I really do.
I do too. I do too. I think, and hey, there's positives and negatives for that. I mean, like the Rocket set, the OG Rocket set's my favorite set. Like I love that set. So many great memories. And I think that was like there was a period where like I aged up, like a lot of people aged out of Pokemon for a bit, and then I came back to it after a few years. I think that's pretty common for a lot of people. And yeah, I mean that was kind of the gray area just after that. But like that's such a killer set, man. And I think you've seen it with 151. If they nail it, like I think they will, yeah, you're going to be into. I mean, hey, Trump's coming back too, so you're gonna have the Donald. There's going to be Drill, baby Drill. Like, yeah, I think we're gonna have a couple of good years in the economy, and then a couple of bad. So yeah, I think hey, it's gonna be a wild ride, man, a wild ride.
I'm glad you said that, because I wasn't gonna say anything, but that's exact. I mean, that is the exact sentiments, and I think that's what's needed right now. Is we the whole world right now is definitely in a very bad, they're in a very low part. Like I said, go to Japan right now, and like I tell everybody, if anybody wanted to go to Japan, now is the time. If you don't go to Japan now, and even for you with the Canadian dollar, I'm not too sure on the Canadian dollar where you're at to the Japanese yen, but I mean, we basically, it's the highest it's ever been. Every time I traveled to Japan, I lost money. This is the highest it's ever been. I mean, we were getting like 1.5 to 1.7 yen to a US dollar. When I went there in January with my son, I took my son in January, and we were getting 1.3 to 1.4, and it was just, I mean, unbelievable. We still spent a lot of money, but holy cow, that would have, years earlier, that would have been triple the cost. So now is the time to travel if you have US dollar. I can't necessarily talk about your Canadian dollar over there, but I think we definitely need a kick in the butt here in America. We need something new. We need to get back. The economy needs to get a kick in the butt, because right now it is. You can totally see even with Pokemon, it's really dipping down. And I think it's been really difficult. But I know you got to go. One last thing I want to get to is I know there's a couple more questions people wanted to ask. But I want to get to something real quick. I would like to get in some Pokemon trivia here on the new show, the Epic TCG Show. I also want to say thank you to everybody that's
drinks.
There you go. You don't have to be right. You don't have to know it. But here in the TCG Show, I want to say thank you to you, our guest, in our inaugural show. I did have a list of people, and you literally were truthful. I can show you the list. You're the first person I wanted to have on.
That's really kind, man. That's really kind.
Again, I like your vibe. I like what you're doing on the channel. I thought it would be very interesting and good to come out and have you come on as a first guest. Also, you're the guinea pig. If I'm, let's just be honest.
I don't mind taking the questions. There's a couple of questions that people wanted to ask. I don't mind
Okay, we'll see. Let's get them in here then.
Yeah.
Brandon says, how would Rob describe a non-card collector? What makes a 40-year-old man so happy about everything Pokemon? A non-card collector.
You get a chance to relive the best parts of your childhood without any of the crap.
There you go. Let's see. What is Menace asking? I hope the new Team Rocket is a main set, not a subset.
Yeah, me too. I hope it's not. I got to have booster boxes, man. Got to have booster boxes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's I think it'll be a main set personally. What's Rob's steps and criteria for determining a good performing Japanese set for sealed investing mid to longer term?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Do you collect Japanese sealed, or is it just English?
Yeah. I got Japanese boxes coming out the wazoo of it. I just look. I don't go crazy for like all in on certain sets. There are a few that I have done, like 151, for example. But I just try and buy them as they come when they're cheap, and they're cheap right now, because with Pokemon, you never really know. With Japanese sets, though, I mean, the waifus in Japanese are important, right? You want to have waifus because they are going to be expensive cards. So if they've got a good waifu chase, that's going to be helpful. But I kind of look at how many art rares and special art rares there are in the sets, kind of marry them up, the art styles. And I mean, I look at the nostalgia levels. I think, what is somebody likely to want to pay quite a bit of money for to open on a streaming service or in their rip and ships down the road? Like, what's that set going to be? But yeah, I think if you're treating this as a hobby investment like I am, just get some of each set when it comes out. And if you see a set that's really, really a blinder, like a 151 that comes around every generation or two, load up on that, because you'll know if it's really popular when it comes out, and chances are it's going to be very popular when it's out of print as well.
Yeah, I used to do, when we were doing English, I started getting into Japanese in 2018, 2019 more. I just enjoyed it more when I was doing things with the kids. I would order Japanese on the side because I really liked it a lot more. But I always said, the reason why I felt like people didn't care about Japanese was because the possibility of getting a 10 was just too high. When you looked at a lot of cards, their print quality was just superior to the English quality. So
a lot doesn't hold up.
Yeah. You're just looking at, there'd be, whereas in English, you'd have a gazillion 9s or 8s and very few 10s. It was the opposite in the Japanese realm. It was more like a gazillion 10s, and you'd hardly ever see 9s and 8s. So that obviously, it just, there was a difference in the value for a lot of people. But I think when product and everything dried up, everyone just like, okay, well, let's go to Japan and just start getting there, which is funny because then it caused a negative effect over there where, like I said, we were in Japan in January, and I think one of the videos I did, I made a video. I'm pretty sure I made a video right after that, showing how when my son and we got to go to the Shibuya Pokemon Center grand opening back in 2019, and cards everywhere. It just packs all on shelves. In January, we couldn't find packs anywhere. Whether it was we went to countless, LGS stores. We went to several different Pokemon centers, no packs. And Pokemon centers put all their packs no longer out in the public. They were all behind, and they all had limits.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to get Pokemon in January, which I thought it was such a mind-blowing experience where the years prior we've never had a problem picking up, Pokemon stuff. So very different how our market shifted to there and just kind of crashed their market. And they don't take it lightly. They did everything they could to try and limit what you could do over here. They tried to stop people from buying over here. And I think that's it just speaks volumes of how it just became Pokemon World just, blew up. Let's see, what else? Is there anything else? I wish I'd got a case of Evolving Skies. Tony, we could all, look back and say I wish I had 3 cases of Evolving Skies booster boxes. I had 2 cases of ETBs during the panty, and we opened every single one up. I mean, we didn't have anything else to do, so we opened everything. Holy cow. Can you imagine if I had that today? Holy cow. But anyways, to end today's stream, here's some Pokemon trivia I'd like to ask. You doesn't get no pressure's not on. I tried to make it somewhat easy. It's not too difficult. These were questions that I took with me to Hawaii for the Pokemon World Championships. And I was going to do segments of asking people questions, and I just never got around to it. So here we go. Where was the first Pokemon Center outside of Japan?
Was it New York City?
Bing, 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 bing. There you go. Got one right. New York City. Yes. 2002, I believe it was. And I actually went to it, and I actually have the 2 promo cards that they gave out from there still. But it was New York City. Yeah.
They changed it to a Nintendo store, didn't they?
Yes, it is now Nintendo of America.
Yeah, it's by it's Rockefeller Plaza, right?
Yes, it is still there. Still there. I was there in 2022 when I went to New York City Comic Con. In fact,
I haven't been there for a long time.
Yeah, it's still there. Big store. It looks pretty cool. New setup they have and everything. How many countries have held a Pokemon Worlds?
I have no idea. I'd be completely guessing. Maybe 7?
Nope. It's kind of surprising, to be honest. I was even shocked myself to see how many there were. So do you think it's more than 7 or less than 7?
Well, now you've said that, maybe more.
Opposite.
Really?
Just 4 countries have held a Pokemon Worlds. That's actually
nutty.
Excuse me. Well, I should say 5 because obviously I left out the United States. So technically it's 5 countries that have had it. So
still,
5
I would have thought it would be
countries.
more. Yeah.
Your homeland, obviously 2022.
Yep.
Right? Which is, for those that don't know, Rob is actually from England. What parts are you from in England, actually?
I'm from Watford. Yeah, a place called Watford.
Ah, you're from the home of Harry Potter. I love it. Yeah, I'm actually a Watford football fan.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh dear.
I'm not.
I was born there, and I'm not.
Well, I grew up an athlete. I actually played professional sports. Soccer was my second sport that I played, and I actually spent time in Birmingham, Aston Villa. But my very first football team I fell in love with was Aston Villa, and then of course Manchester United. Watford mainly because I had Watford's more of a new, I would say over the past couple years, because a goalkeeper I follow, he played for Watford, and so I kind of became a fan. And then of course, knowing I'm in the acting world, I'm in the entertainment world, and so I know the lot that they shoot on, which is actually based out of Watford, which is where the Warner Brothers lot is, and they shot all the Harry Potter
Yeah,
films from.
yeah, Leavesden. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just that kind of knowledge stuff. But yeah, Watford's a beautiful, beautiful city, though. I mean, it's probably one of the last remaining beautiful city. Well, I don't want to say. I don't want to upset anybody from England, but um, so it's definitely not the same as it was years back. I know that much.
I haven't been there for a long time. I
Uh,
couldn't tell you.
yeah,
Couldn't tell you.
you'd probably be a little struck if you were to go back now. Yeah, I haven't been there, but I have a lot of friends. We were actually supposed to go this summer. We were supposed to go to attend my son. Again, my son's a soccer player, and we were supposed to go to the Liverpool football camp, which was being held
Mhm.
just outside of Watford. I forgot the name of the college. They were going to hold the camp, and then they were going to travel up to Liverpool from there to go to the grounds and all that fun stuff. But the actual camp was being held just outside of Watford, a little bit more west. And we couldn't make it at the last minute. We had some things happen, but it was in early July. We were supposed to go actually late July. We were supposed to go to that camp. We ended up not going. But our friend who went to the camp, yeah, they said wasn't exactly the London that they once remembered. It was definitely different,
Mhm.
but Watford was still beautiful, they said. So I know that much. Um, last trivia question. Last trivia question. What is the highest selling modern Pokemon card today? Modern being what we're gonna say XY era to now.
XY era to now, like from a main expansion.
From what basically what is the most not non promo card, like, so you can't use like a world, 1, 2, or 3, just from a main expansion set. What is the basically the highest the highest valued card is what I really meant to say.
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I would guess it would be the Moonbryon.
That's what I found. I found it to be the Moonbryon as the highest selling modern card that is not a promo card or an event card. So yeah, the
Yeah, that's what I
Moonbryon.
would have thought.
Can you so this was how I was going to wrap this up was, can you equate why that is?
I don't know. I think that card to me symbolizes a very wacky time in the hobby where it is just such a stunning card that Pokemon is reaching up for the moon in this moment where it feels to me like the world beneath it has gone absolutely mad. The world has just gone crazy with everything that was happening with the pandemic and the lockdowns and the vaccines and all that stuff. And it just feels like that was the escape for so many people. It's a gorgeous artwork. I think it's incredible. And I think that's what it symbolizes. It's that moment where people click back in and they escape. And that's kind of the poster child for escaping into Pokemon, but coming back.
Do you think there's a better set than Evolving Skies out there in the modern
A better
sets?
set in the modern era?
Yeah, so basically Sword and Shield. You could even say Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet. Out of those 3 sets, do you think there's a better set than Evolving Skies?
So when it comes to investing and collecting, I think that they're different and that there's different things people will look for. Quite honestly, the experience of opening Evolving Skies is not fun. Yeah, I mean, unless you do get a hit, which is the poor, it's brutal. Like
100% agree with that.
opening 151 is a lot of fun. It's a cool set to open. There's a lot of nostalgia. So, I'm not talking about the investment potential, but in terms of collectibles, the experience, the nostalgia, I would say 151 would edge it for me. Yeah, in terms of
Okay.
investing, we've got to see on that one.
Yeah, I will agree. The pain was real opening all that Evolving Skies up. It really
Yeah.
was. Really was. That's the one thing I do disagree with Rattle Pokemon on. I don't know if you watch Rattle Pokemon. Who out there does? I watch Rattle. supportive of what he does. But he, he really tried to say that when they found all those thousands of, cards that they found that someone tried selling off that they'd stole from the factory had no impact. I just can't believe it didn't, especially as someone who opened up as much Evolving Skies as I did. I mean, in total, I easily opened up, I know I opened at least 4 cases in total of Evolving Skies, booster boxes alone. I opened up, like I said, 2 cases of ETBs. That's 20 ETBs. Plus,
Oh, wow.
I hit I think it was it Sam's Club or Costco at one point had the, it was from the Legacy group, had those ETBs. I couldn't pull nothing. I mean, I should have had a full set easily, multiple Umbreons, multiple all those. No, hardly anything. It was so disgusting. It was really upsetting, actually. It was very demotivating. And to be honest
Yeah, it
with
sucks.
you,
Yeah.
it was a catalyst. It was a catalyst for me transferring over to another TCG called MetaZoo Games, who had sent me some free product at the time to look at, and I fell in love with it because it was basically, it was essentially reliving 1999 Pokemon over again.
Yeah.
With the way the whole setup was and how everything was. And honestly, I was very driven over because of Evolving Skies. It was just so terrible, so hurtful to open. I would have to say, for me, I really think the most underrated set that will eventually come out. My only problem with this, what I'm about to say, is there's just so much of it out there. But I still think, what would you think my guess is gonna be of the I think the best set that's better than Evolving Skies?
Is it a Scarlet and Violet era set, or is it a Sword and Shield set?
Sword and Shield.
A better set than Sword. Are you thinking Crown Zenith?
Yes, I think Crown Zenith is.
Crown Zenith's a lot of fun to open too, man. Yeah.
There's like a hit, and we just did a giveaway stream. Was it yesterday? No, the day before yesterday. I did a giveaway stream, and I mean, it's just so many hits in there. I was getting so jealous because I'm like, I want this. What am I doing with this? But I mean, that's what I do on my channel. But I really, really do think Crown Zenith, ultimately, once it starts drying up and it has been opened, people will look back because there's too many. It's got every major hit you can imagine. It has Umbreons in it. It has Zards. I mean, it has everything in it. I feel like that's actually going to be probably the one of the best sets that people are going to want. But there's just so much of it out there is the only thing I think about. And then, of course, like MetaZoo Menace just said, the one modern booster box that I have invested in is Brilliant Stars. I think Brilliant Stars, when I see Brilliant Stars, I think of XY Flashfire. And I feel that is one of the most underrated sets that really no investor channel has really kind of gone after, which has been surprising because they did Fusion Strike. They've done Evolving Skies. Lost Origin now has been pushed by people, even Silver Tempest. And I'm like, how is no one really talking about that? I mean, the fact of the matter is, and the reality is, Charizard rules the hen house. And it just does. It just does. When it comes to monetary values, it rules the hen house. And ultimately, when you look back, you're going to see that those Zards from the Brilliant Stars era are really, they're really going to be, I think it's the next XY era set. And I just find it so strange. Again, I've looked at data, not quite like you would look at data, because again, you're more, that's something you're more knowledgeable about, especially being in, your background. But I really think Brilliant Stars will probably be one of the most underrated, valuable sets out there. So, I mean, like, I picked up a bunch of booster boxes of it to kind of hang on to.
Same,
and stuff.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, I think actually one of my first ever YouTubes was on that. I think it was 2 or 3 videos in. I did Brilliant Stars because I love it. I agree, man. The Rainbow Zard is one of my favorites. Yeah, it's got, like, anything with Arceus too. Like you mentioned, Crown Zenith. It's got the Akira Igawa like the four of them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's incredible. Like, it's an incredible set. So, and yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't gone for a run. But Sword and Shield's on the back burner right now for people. Like Scarlet and Violet's kind of taken over the zeitgeist. But don't forget about Sword and Shield. Don't forget about that one. It's
Well,
going
it's
to come
still
back,
around.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's
lots
still
still there,
around.
but it's drying up now though. It's starting to dry up, and you're in the spring, tax return time. You know, when Donald's back, you're gonna see those go for a run. Like, trust me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, guys, we've kept him long enough. Again, we were only supposed to do about an hour today. The idea of the show is supposed to be an hour, but unfortunately, I talk too much, and so I don't think even back when I had the show previously, I don't think I ever did about an hour. Maybe with a few of the artists, when I had artists come on the channel, they would be pretty close to an hour. But anyways, I want to say thank you so much, Rob, again for being the inaugural guest. No worries, with having issues, the internet, it's gonna happen. Again, everybody knows my channel is the Dumpster Fire channel. However, I have fixed it though. I have fixed it. I got a new computer. We got it. We're running the stream. Look how crisp and clean the stream's been. I'm able to have all this fun little, background stuff now. Could never do that before. It would have killed my computer. So, but with that said, I want to say thanks again, guys. If you definitely give Rob's channel a look, it'll be in the description. It's called Rob Does Pokemon. Again, understand, I would definitely say 80 to 90% sarcasm in there, so don't take what he's saying. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's
see
some
through
dark
it.
humor. Yeah.
You gotta see through the humor, people. You gotta see through the humor. I was gonna get on you a little bit about using that reprint term.
Yeah, I totally did that on purpose. Yeah.
I kind of figured because after I was done listening to the video, yeah. Like I said, you have to. I'm someone who understands sarcastic humor, and I can get through that. There's so many people out there that don't see it, like you were saying earlier. There's people who don't
Oh,
quite
yeah.
get it.
You should have seen the comments for some of it. Yeah, some of them I just hit them because they were pretty funny. But no, the news is that new box, right? And
Yeah,
hey, whether they restock and reprint, it's the same difference to me. More product
yeah.
hits the market. What does it matter if they file up the printers or not? I don't, whatever.
But anyways, thank you again, Rob. Appreciate you coming on. Inaugural stream, everybody. Definitely in the chat. Let's give some claps, some GGs, all that fun stuff for Rob for coming on. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks,
Again,
guys. Thanks for
first
tuning in.
stream. We do have several other guests booked already. They'll be coming on. As of right now, I'm trying to do 2 shows a week. I'm trying to do that. 2 shows a week. I just got to make sure everyone cooperates with me. I'm having already issues with getting people info, and like I got to make sure, if I say you're going to go, hopefully I've had a few people I've sent stuff out to. I'm waiting to hear back from them. But we also, like I said, hopefully we'll have some good news for the channel coming up here for the new show. I'm going to be really focusing my content around this show moving forward because, guys, I don't sell. I'm not an investor in that realm where I can talk that much. I would never listen to my advice, that's for sure. I can talk to you about stuff, but yeah, you don't want my advice because I'm sure it's probably not going to be good. Especially you want it, go to Rob. He's a great person to listen to. But thank you again. Appreciate it, Rob.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I really, really do. That's awesome. Thank you. Take
Definitely.
it
Well,
easy.
have a great night. Again, appreciate it, Rob. Have a good one, my friend.
Take care. Bye.
Once again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight's show. Whether you're able to be here live or you're going to watch it on the replay, the plan moving forward for the show is we're going to have it at 7 o'clock Tuesdays and Fridays. That should be the schedule of the show. That's pretty much what I've been laying out to everybody. Now, there's going to be exceptions made like this evening. Rob has a family. His kids come first. He's got to put the kids, down to sleep. And so we had to go to a later time frame. That may happen occasionally. We may do a 9 o'clock time. Of course, we've got our West Coast people. That's going to be a little difficult for some of them. But our goal is to hit 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays and Fridays. That's going to be hopefully the show schedule. And again, we will have some good things coming here on the show. I've been working on getting a lot of stuff done. It looks like we may have a sponsor for the show lined up, and that'll be great for everybody here because we'll be able to do more than just have a talk show. We'll be able to interact and do some things with our people here in the audience in the live stream, which I think is going to be pretty cool as well. Our next guest, as far as I'm aware, our next guest is another Canadian. I'll wait until I announce it officially, but I believe our next guest will be another Canadian Pokemoner, and I'm excited to hopefully announce that. I believe we have secured the date. I'm waiting for a stamp of approval, before I get it out there who our next guest is going to be. And then from there, again, we have another guest lined up for the following week. And again, for the most part, we're definitely going 2 times a week on the guest, and it should be fun, guys. It should be fun. We're gonna hear a little something different from everybody. The show, it's called the TCG Show. However, we're gonna be bringing in people in the VGA area, so video games, people who collect plushies and toys, and they're gonna be a bit sort, but ultimately, they all collect Pokemon cards to some degree or another. Which again, that's the whole premise of the show, and it's exciting times, guys. Exciting times. I'm putting in a lot of effort to make this happen. So hopefully, moving forward, again, we're gonna have a really great time. We had a great time tonight. At least I did. Again, enjoy talking to Rob. That's the first time I've actually got to physically talk to Rob outside of DM. So it was a lot of fun. I know, energy. It's hard to get the energy at this time of night. That's why I was drinking my energy drink. It is a Bang energy drink. However, I should be drinking Dubby because, again, the channel, I am sponsored by Dubby. So if anyone wants to buy Dubby, it's an energy supplemental drink. You mix in with water, whatever. Use code EpicTube HD will get you 10% off any orders that you put in. That is Dubby.gg. I believe that should be in the description as well. If not, I will add it later on. But that's going to do it for tonight's stream, everybody. Appreciate you coming to the inaugural, the Epic TCG Show, guys. Hope you had a great one. Thank you to Phantasma Official in here. Brandon Pelletier, guys. Thank you again to all my moderators that showed up tonight. Aztec, MetaZoom Menace, everyone that was in here. Thank you so much once again. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream and could take a little bit of info out of what Rob said. Again, I knew we had a very, very tight schedule tonight, so I couldn't really go as in-depth in the investment world that I was kind of thinking I was going to go into. But if you want to, follow Rob over on YouTube or his IG accounts. Again, really, really good quality content creator. But that's going to do it, guys. Have a great night from here at EpicTube HD. As always, have more epic adventures with us here, EpicTube HD, guys. Peace out. See ya.